Welcome to another Modeler Man Mike build project. Got the Walthers New River Mining Company. What a fun model to build this was. Still working on it. Got a little bit more to do on it, but I got most of it in here. This is a long video. It's a big model, and I really had to cut this down a lot to get it just under, I think, 35 minutes. So you might want to watch this from the Chromecast or your Xbox or something, so that you can relax on the couch or something. But going through the norm here, get everything unboxed, get it de-sprued, get all these parts all cleaned up, get them ready to start painting. Model was really decent, older model. All these parts are numbered really nicely. The big panels, they got numbers on them like this. So working through this, I did everything I could, try and keep everything organized and keep everything in separate boxes and stuff, try and make the build a lot easier, and it went okay. So I get everything set up to paint here, and going through the first run through the paint booth. Get everything hooked up here, get all the back panels all painted black, just shoot as much paint on this stuff as I can to kind of get it knocked out. Like I say, it's a pretty big build, quite a few parts. I worked real hard to keep everything organized. Quite a few panels. Get them laid out and looked at them, on the table, and you kind of want to almost be confused by it, but if you keep it organized, it goes real quick. So the first thing I do is I get all the fronts covered here with this primer, and then I come back with a couple of random grays that I had, just a little bit off color from the other one, and I just dust all these parts, just kind of give the gray a little bit of variation. And on the bigger panels, I'll come back and I'll hit a little bit here and there, just kind of make them look a little bit different. While I get everything set up to dry, start building on some of this stuff. The way I figured putting this stuff together, anything I can get put together, I put together. Try and get it out of the way, get it out of the parts bin. This here I had a little bit of trouble with, trying to keep all these 90 degrees. They a little difficult for me. I don't know why I had so much trouble with this, but I did. I think I had to re-glue it a couple times. But I go through, after I get all this, anything that's going to touch the ground, you'll see me come back and spot spray some of this stuff with black. This don't fit. You're going to want to make it fit, but it just don't fit. So what I decided to do, I put the whole thing together, and then I took the bottom piece here and I just sanded it up so that it'd fit in there. Just kind of take a little bit off and size it, take a little bit off, and I finally got it in there pretty. And this finishes out the I-beam. There's I-beams on, there's two on each side. Things get your I-beam finished up. I shoot the bottom with the black. Anything touch the ground, I got some black on. I assembled this and went through the same process of painting it, covered it with that gray primer, and then just kind of did a little dust with the other two colors. Now, something else I want to do, you look at these parts and you let them talk to you, and this is what it was telling me. I don't know how they talk to me, but they do. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking a little bit of this metallic color, and I'm just hitting the top part. So like if it's a one floor, I might get like the top quarter. Just kind of get a little bit part, top quarter, top third of the panels, and then on the big ones I'll shoot a couple little shots here and there, just kind of give it some variation. So now what I got four colors of gray on there. And this, I wanted to run a walkway over the track and the coal cars, but I wanted that door to go somewhere, so I want to put a door in here. So I measured it all out and got it hooked up about where I want it. You're gonna want to cut this. If you decide to do this, you'll want to cut it with an X-Acto, but I found it's just too thick to. Usually you can just snap it, you know, but so I drilled a hole, and using these nippers here, I just go finish out the rest of the doorway. So I get them out laid out, and I get to looking at it, and I decided to add some panel lines. I wanted to have 2x9 panels on here, so I made a little tool here to kind of help me judge the panel sizes on here. So I went through and scored each one of these pieces, these panels on the outside, with a score line to simulate a 9-foot panel. And so you have the top and the bottom at 9 foot, and then you'll see later a little raised section that's a 2 foot wide HO scale that shows. So what I have now and I've made is 2x9 foot panels, and rest of doing this model for me is just trying to emphasize these panels and panel lines. Now for you guys that like really super clean models, you know, this, once you get this assembly done here, you're pretty much finished, except the windows and putting the doors in. What a fun build this was, though. I mean, just really fun, really easy. It's an older model. It could use some updates, especially on the windows, but really interesting build. So I'm going to mix up some water-based acrylic here. What I'm going to do is I want to get a base coat now of just some rust, and all these panel lines. Like I said, I want to try and emphasize these panel lines using this sign and my spray gun. I go through and I hit each one of these lines that I scored in. These pieces are upside down in there so that all my rust looks like it's running down. And as I painted this stuff, you can see I hold this. I actually shoot the sign and let the overspray hit the panels. So I do this through the whole model. I'll go through, do some little touch-ups here and there, put a little bit under some windows, put, you know, anywhere rust might accumulate on these panels. Yeah, this actual mine that they used, the prototype. If you stay tuned toward the end of this video, I actually have a picture of the mine and some information about it. It's pretty neat. Looks just like this. So this thing assembled really nice. You know, the main building, I mean, it just came together. I mean, just no problem. The other, I don't know what that unit's called, and I'm sure you guys will probably tell me, but it kind of seemed like an afterthought to me. That's why I got everything drying. I go through and I just keep assembling little piece parts here and there to try and clear out the parts bin. You know, I've got so many parts here to deal with. And these I didn't do a whole lot with. The little small one I did, because I had to, you know, it connects the two pieces together. But the two that are supposed to go into the rock wall or into the mountain or wherever, I guess where these things run and haul this coal up and down into that building, I didn't do too much with them. I guess I got conveyors in those or something. So I go through and I assemble all the roofs, and I want these three to be removable, so I reinforce these with a little bit of ABS plastic. Yeah, you use ABS plastic on inside stuff. It works just fine. Works fine with all the tools that you use for all your styrene, but it's half as much. I buy it in bulk off of eBay. Super cheap. Now I'm gonna get the rest of these roofs on here that I want to put on. Now what I'm going to do, like I say, I got 2x9 panels, and what I'm doing here is I'm actually raising these panel lines and sinking the rust into the little crevices. So you can see I've got like 2x9 panels here. And looking at it, I finally figured out, well, I'm missing some rust that I didn't get whenever I painted it earlier, so I came back and I hit it here and there with a little bit, make it blend in. I spend a lot of time sitting back and looking at it and seeing what's missing. And if you look at enough buildings, you'll see it. It'll tell you what it needs. I get all the doors put in. These little braces didn't take long to put in. They're kind of a nuisance, but you have to cut 2 of them. 2 go on one side, and doesn't say anything in the instructions about it, but I wound up taking the other half of these that I cut off and put on the other side of the model. Just kind of finish that out. And these chutes. You just kind of forget about this stuff when you're building it. You know, I had the stuff sitting in a box. I'm like, okay, what do I got to do with this? But I found it was easier just to assemble them first and then get them in there. And then I hit this with a little bit of black. I'm assuming that there'll be a lot of black coal around there. Alright, so I get looking at it some more. I want to bring out some more panels here. So I go through and I mask it off and I hit it with some of this metallic paint. It's just random all over the model, and I'm so excited about this and decided to go with that metallic color. I'm thinking whenever I finally get this on the layout that I'll probably have it set up in a scene where we've got some construction going on. Just get them replacing panels or something in the scene. So on these the peaks here on these roof, I wasn't real happy with, so I went in with this white putty and kind of filled it in. Fill it in with your finger works best, I think. So the whole time I'm working on this stuff, I'm going back and forth on this. I'm sanding, I'm painting. I think I applied this putty 2 or 3 times. Stuff works great. It's really nice, sandable stuff. And I use these cosmetic wedges for a lot of painting, a lot of weathering and stuff. They're just really handy. Applying some water-based acrylic here. Get all the doors painted up. Kind of random color. Go around and get the eaves on the rooftops as well. Kind of spot paint some other stuff. Kind of make it look prepared. So now I think at this point I might have sanded those again and re-puttied. So I look at this model and keep thinking about what it needs. And I decided to add some piping here on the outside of the model. Don't tell Walthers that they're giving this stuff away. So I just pulled out the Dremel. It's just easy to get rather than the drill. Actually, probably worked out easier because it's a little bit smaller. So I get some holes drilled for those pipes. Yeah, if you've seen my other videos, you've seen these. This roof detail, I really like these. I wanted to do something a little bit different with these. I've always painted them like a primer or metallic color, and just doing something a little different here. So I'm going to use a little bit of black paint with some weathering powder, and so I just think these vents and stuff on these will probably be pretty chewed up with coal dust. I'll make some little platforms here using this ABS plastic. Get this stuff really cheap off of eBay. And for stuff that really doesn't matter, it doesn't seem, why use Plastruct or Evergreen when you can get this stuff so cheap. So I just get this hooked up, get me some platforms made up. Use the old chopper when you're doing a bunch of pieces the same size. So I figured out about how they're gonna go. Get some legs and stuff here and put these little platforms together. Probably an easier way to do this, but I enjoyed putting these together. It's quite fun. Use my hole punch. Give me a little, I don't know, they just kind of look better with the little circle on there. I don't know, circle or square or diamond or something. These turned out pretty nice, I think. Put a little different shade of green on there. I'm going to drill some holes in these and get them hooked up for some power lines and stuff a little bit. Using a hard bristled brush, I go through and I take out all that stuff to try and raise the little vents on the intakes on these air conditioners. Little touch-ups here, just make it look nice, little detail. Here's some more of that ABS plastic. That stuff isn't perfectly square, and it's not always perfect, but it works. It works for what I'm doing here. What I am doing is I'm making some power lines for these air conditioners. I just get everything hooked up so I can just set them down here a little bit, just glue stuff down. And here I am with some more paneling and stuff. What I'm doing is I'm going through and covering all of the metallic stuff that I put down, and I'm also covering probably about another 30% of 2x9 panels, just the gray ones. You can't see how this use my weathering powder. I want to really start aging this. I need to get it about 30 years old. And that North Texas, you get a lot of this. You actually get a lot of this red dirt too. So. A combination of red dirt and rust, I guess. Using my finger too, I'll take some of it off, so it'll kind of bring out those panel lines. The whole thing with this is bringing out these panel lines, making it panelized. A lot of people send me messages on weathering, and if you just grab some weathering powder, if you don't do this or haven't done it before, just try it. It's so easy. It's just it's a breeze. Don't be afraid of it. Worst case, you got to take it to the sink and wash it off or something, but give it a whirl. It's easy. And especially on an old model like this, this has got to be 30 years old, 40 years old maybe. It's going to determine how much weathering powder you're putting on it. Now I'm actually taking it off there, doing some panels. Here I'm using a wet Q-tip, just taking it off. I want to try and raise the panel lines and sink the rust. And of course, being a coal mine, you gotta have black on here. So I use this paintbrush, a little bit harder bristles, to try and get the black down into the little seams. And then I figured there'd probably be a really light dark coat, around the model. So I come back with that makeup brush and hit it. Now see, doesn't that look neat? I really like the way that turned out. So now I have all these really bright panels, and now I come back and kind of dust over the whole thing pretty good, kind of blend it in. So in the scene I'll have some repair guys, some extra panels and stuff around. I think that'd be kind of neat to see. I get my pipes all hooked up here. Cut me some 2x9 panels here and put up there. Actually, in this, the holes they were pretty ugly. And so I thought, well, heck, I'll have a couple of different looking panels here if I use this for. So I get these pipes in there. Now I start gluing stuff down to the roof and stuff now that I got all the weather and all. I want to use a lot of tar around different places, kind of just catch the eye. Oh, got my little powder. And you'll see me paint stuff and then glue on top of it. And that's probably not the best way to do it, but it's just easier. These always have this clear edge. And I wanted to put a little something on it. I don't know if those will stay, but kind of neat. Put those on there. Seal it up with some Mod Podge. I had this extra hole here. I actually drilled it too high, but this just kind of worked in pretty decent. And here I am with some more panels. These are, I believe these are Crayola markers. And I'm using some pastels. Flat like this. You remember from school doing this kind of stuff, but just rubbing this across and all these raised panels just catch all this, and man, it really looks good. Got some detail with Crayola pencils. I like those Crayola pencils. They kind of flake off, kind of look like flaky paint or something. Just go around different parts of the model. Anything, that's just a gift to have raised items on stuff like this that you need to rust up. This is more of that ABS plastic. Now, cut a whole bunch of these and did them earlier and painted them up. Now, and I don't know what you'd call. I'll just call them call boxes. They could be power lines or call boxes. And I just wanted to put a little something around this model, kind of bring out some more detail. So I figured running this wire around, adding these call boxes, it'd be kind of neat looking. Use this toothpick to push it up in there real good. Make sure that glue sticks. So I take these little, I guess they're little power boxes, and some of them I have 2 holes in or 3 holes in. Or I want to put some down on the legs. If they're call boxes, I want the guys on the ground to be able to call up to the top if they need to. They look quite large on here. They're really kind of small though. Using super glue here, that thick stuff. Here I'm going to get started on these walkways. And these are made by Tichy, and I really like these. They just cut nice. I'll get them sized up, kind of figure out how they're going to go on here. Use this thick super glue to glue them together. Kind of trim them in, just using scissors. It's just real. That stuff cuts really easy. Just get it trimmed in, glue it down. The paint and the weathering will cover up most of the ugly here. Yeah, just make sure they're flat. But these go together real nice, and these are only a few dollars. They add so much, I think. And it's best to build the bottoms first and then come back around and rail them. And here I got it laid out flat so I can make sure they come out flat. Yeah, just do some little connecting stuff here, just make it look pretty. Do some test fitting. I made 3 of these. I really was excited about getting this long one done here that's going out over the track and the coal cars. Got that little door in there put in so these guys can get out there and do their business. Just using some primer. Get it hooked up. I get these things weathered up pretty good here. At Bragdon Enterprises, man, I sure do like this stuff. Now, I ain't afraid to get messy with this stuff. I use this glass tabletop. That's one of the reasons why I have the glass. Is it really does make things like this easy, with a cleanup after. And I used to use a self-healing mat. I used a self-healing mat for years, and I went to this glass, and it totally changed the way I model. Just even get all messy. So I just kind of put this stuff down in stages, look at it, see, add a little bit of rust. I know it's going to be dark where the guys are walking, so I add more black there and kind of get a little bit on the inside of the railings. And yeah, use the super glue to get this attached on here. Put some paint on here. And beautiful thing about this is you get this paint on here. You got your weathering powder on, and after you get this paint on, you can come back with a hard bristle brush, and you just keep scraping on it, and it'll start pulling some of the paint off because the weathering right here. So the weathering powder, so it really does give it a nice look. And that's because weathering powder is on there. Now the windows, I've got a few of the Walthers models that have these windows in them, and the guys, they really need to update these. Those models with these windows are, they're probably 20 years old, these models. And it wouldn't be much to throw in a different sprue, full of windows to go in here. So what I'm doing here, and just from experience, I know that you got to get really good coverage on this, or when you light it, it's gonna glow through these windows too. So I put down that charcoal gray first, and then I come back with this so that I can give it a look like the paint's peeling off the windows. And it also, using those cosmetic things, will get a little bit of paint on the windows, which I like that. Now you can use, and I've done this, use like a Sharpie and paint those, or paint them, or just mark them, or paint pens or something like that, which work fine too. But so this one's so old that, so I went through and I put all the other windows in. Now I wanted to pop a few windows, and just using my track cutters here, I just cut some of these up and made some singulars. I had to keep them together too, because you have 3 windows on one set. You just kind of keep those together so that you can use everywhere on this model. You got 3 windows, so yeah, I just kind of pop these up. I wound up having to angle those little tabs that go on the inside after I cut them. Those look nice, I think. They're a little thick though. I'd really like to have some smaller windows. They're not scale. When you pop one out, the window frame is just too thick. And that's the windows. I'll probably replace those. I guess, what are these? These are awnings. Now you know, I sat and I looked at this and looked at it and looked at it and just couldn't figure out if I wanted little short ones or long ones. Wound up going with long ones. And I'm using this digital level, and it's a little bit of help, but just to make sure that whenever I glue these pieces on right here, that I can get them at, you know, around the right angle. So I check the building because I don't want them too sharp or too low, or too high or too low. I need to get them within the range of the same roof angles. So the digital level helps. And here I'm using that camera tape, or it's black masking tape, and just cutting it off, just making some shingles. And I glue it on so it doesn't come up later, and then I'll seal it on the show side as well, so it doesn't peel up. Now I want some peel, and some of it I went back through with my X-Acto and kind of raised a little bit of it here and there. I need to make some braces here, and I used 2 different kinds on here just to sort of mix it up a little bit. And glue those in with some super glue. Now this one here I had fun with. I actually got a little bit of sag in that one. And get it all kind of tinkered in there. That's our extra door. Looks good. Adds a lot. Here I just want a couple of drain pipes. I don't know, maybe they got sinks or something in here. Some machinery or something that has to drain out or something. Just using a bit of wire, I guess. Some brass. I used some brass, didn't I? And that paint is about the color of that copper, you know. And I wound up kind of cleaning that up a little bit too. Weathering it up a little bit. Need little steps, so I took some of this walkway grading stuff, made a little step here. Oh, this here, there's a door up there, no way to get to it, so I just took this fire escape and took some evergreen I-beam and just kind of made some platform or some bracing to hold these stairs up there. Painted it all up with the gray. Kind of work it in. I have a little bit more work to do on that, but looks quite nice, I think. And got it semi-weathered. Got some more things to do on here, including the flashing. I got a little piece up there you can see. Some duct work. Pretty excited about getting the lighting done. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And like and share and all those great things that help a video get out there for people to see. You guys take care.